Bowl of Mello TV Sports with cricket, as the West Indies contingent has entered the bubble setup in Bangladesh ahead of their test and one-day international series set to start later this month. The 38-member party arrived in Dhaka on Sunday morning to become the first international side to arrive in Bangladesh since the COVID-19 outbreak. The West Indies have travelled with 9 uncapped players in the 15-man ODI squad after a number of senior players opted out of the tour for both the ODIs and tests. Those who have arrived yesterday will undergo COVID-19 tests, after which they will isolate themselves in their hotel rooms for the first 3 days before being tested again. Now, if they test negative on both tests, they will be allowed to train from the 4th day. West Indies will play a warm-up one day on January 18 before the first ODI on January 20. A third round of testing will take place after day 7 of the tour and also once before the start of the ODI series. The Bangladesh board will reportedly also provide local net bowlers who will be kept in a mirror bubble alongside other service providers and ground staff in accommodation facilities inside the Sher Bangla National Stadium. Meanwhile, Chris Gayle and Chadwick Walton are the Jamaicans who will participate in the 2021 edition of the Pakistan Super League. The draft held yesterday saw Gayle go to the Quetta Gladiators and Walton to the Karachi Kings. More than 400 international players registered for the 6th edition of the league, with over 90 coming from the West Indies. Carlos Brathwaite and Sherfane Rutherford were the only other West Indians picked up, meaning the likes of Dwayne Bravo, Brandon King, Sheldon Cottrell, Lyndall Simmons, and Evan Lewis missed out. The Pakistan Super League will run from February 20 to March 22 in Karachi and Lahore. A battered and bruised India lost only 3 wickets on today's final day as they pulled off a stunning draw against Australia in the 3rd test in Sydney. India resuming on 98 for 2 and needing a further 309 runs to reach their victory target of 407 were eyeing a win when Rishabh Pant 97 and Cheteshwar Pujara 77 shared a 4th wicket partnership of 148. Australia regained the advantage after Pant and Pujara were dismissed by Nathan Lyon and Josh Hazlewood respectively to put India 272 for 5. Hanuma Vihari 23 not out, who was constrained by a hamstring strain he picked up while running, and Ravichandran Ashwin at 39, also unbeaten, thwarted Australia for 258 deliveries in a courageous partnership of 62 as the tourists achieved the draw, ending on 334 for 5. India ensured the series remained all square heading into the final test, now confirmed to take place in Brisbane from January 15. Final scores: Australia 338 and 312 for 6, India 244 and 334 for 5. Meanwhile, Cricket Australia could hand indefinite bans to any fans found guilty of racially abusing India players during the 3rd test in Sydney. Cricket Australia has launched an investigation with New South Wales Police after India bowler Mohammad Siraj's complaint led to the ejection of 6 fans from the Sydney Cricket Ground on Sunday. A day earlier, India launched a formal complaint after allegations of racial abuse towards Siraj and fellow pace bowler Jasprit Bumrah. On to some interesting news now. More than 80% of people in Japan who were surveyed in 2 polls in the last few days says the Tokyo Olympics should be cancelled or postponed, or say they believe the Olympics will not take place. The polls were conducted by the Japanese news agency Kyodo and TPS, the Tokyo Broadcasting System. The results are bad news for Tokyo organizers and the International Olympic Committee, IOC, as they continue to say the postponed Olympics will be open on July 23. Tokyo is battling a surge of COVID-19 cases that prompted the national government last week to call a state of emergency. In declaring the emergency, Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga said he was confident the Olympics would be held. We tee off on some golf news now. The PGA of America has moved the 2022 PGA Championship from the Trump National Course in Bedminster days after supporters of Donald Trump attacked the U.S. Capitol. PGA of America President Jim Richardson did not explicitly reference the riots in Washington, D.C., but said holding one of golf's majors at the New Jersey course would damage the organization's brand. Bedminster, located in New Jersey, had been awarded the tournament in 2012 before Trump's run for the presidency. President Trump's repeated false claims of election fraud and his incendiary address to protesters prior to the attack on the Capitol have prompted growing calls for his removal from office as unfit under the Constitution's 25th Amendment. It is the second time in 6 years the PGA has moved an event away from a course owned by Donald Trump. The 2015 Grand Slam of Golf was due to be held at the Trump National in Los Angeles, but was cancelled after Mr. Trump, then a presidential candidate, made controversial remarks about Mexican immigrants. Now to end tonight's sports package, we present you with the play of the night. Terry Rozier's dunk versus the Atlanta Hawks.
Shooting 41% from behind the arc through the first 8 games. Rozier. Oh! Terry rips it down!
Wow! Says stop play. I need to see this again. Behind the back.
And those are the stories making sports news tonight. I'm Christopher Scott. Remember, stay safe and pleasant viewing.